It's another Raw video from your favorite YouTube scout, Draftrawthentic. Yes, I'm finally here making another video, and like I said, it's a Raw one, so there will be no edits. Anyway, if you already know, I am doing my 32 for 32 draft breakdown series. That is 32 teams, 32 days, draft breakdown for each and every team in the NFL. And with that being said, I've already done the AFC North and I've already done the NFC North. So now I'm on the West Coast. And if you're seeing this video, then you should already know that I already did the Denver Broncos. So that means I'm in the AFC West. So after doing the Denver Broncos, today's video will be about the Oakland Raiders 2018 NFL Draft. Now, if there was another honorable mention for who I thought was winners of the draft, I kind of would go with the Oakland Raiders. I look back at this draft and I was like, whoa, hold up. This is pretty exciting. This is actually really exciting for the players that they did get. Now, I'm not the biggest fan for each player that they got, but I think that each player can bring something to the team that could take them over the top and put them back into being a perennial, not just playoff team, but even a Super Bowl team. I mean, when you have a quarterback like Derek Carr, you have a chance. So let's just get into it. In the first round, the Oakland Raiders selected Colton Miller. Now, I wouldn't say a lot. I've seen other people talk about Colton Miller as not being as good as maybe other media has said. I am on the bandwagon of Colton Miller where I think he's a really good player. What's so special about this situation with Colton is that I talked about this type of thing in my other videos, and that is some of the best pass blockers in this offensive tackle draft class, which wasn't a really good draft class. Some of these guys, the ones that I thought were the best, actually ran sub 5 seconds in the 40-yard dash. It's something to think about, which is kind of weird. Now, that doesn't always work out that way, is that those guys are the best pass blockers. But in this situation, guys like Brian O'Neill, guys like Joseph Noteboom, and a guy like Colton Miller were some of the best pass blockers I saw. And when I'm rating my offensive tackles, I rate how good you can be as a pass blocker. I think that it's easier to come into the league and learn techniques of how to become a better run blocker. And it's easier to get a player to be a little bit more stronger by getting them some weights and letting them lift than it is to teach them foot quickness to be able to block the speed rushers. Because most offensive linemen should be able to block the bull rushers. Not all of them, but most of them should be able to kind of, at least hold their own a good amount of percentage of the time. But when it comes to left tackles, it's the speed rushers that gets them. And that's where I think that Colton Miller excels. I give the Raiders kudos who actually drafted him. Now, people said that they drafted him a little bit too early. Let me just say this. There's no such thing as drafting a player early. And the reason why there's no such thing as that is because guys like, when I think, my favorite team, the Baltimore Ravens, guys like Ray Lewis and Ed Reed were drafted late first round. And they're two of the best at their position. J.J. Watt was the second defensive tackle drafted in the 2011 NFL Draft, and he's the best defensive player, period, besides Von Miller, and maybe you throw Patrick Peterson into that mix. But when it comes down to it, he's the only 3-time NFL Defensive Player of the Year. So you're looking at that situation where you can't really say that, a guy was drafted too high or he was drafted too low, or a guy was drafted just right where they were supposed to be. It doesn't matter, because if that player becomes a really good player in the league, then who cares where the guy was drafted? People have said that about Ryan Clady, who the Denver Broncos drafted back in 2008, they was like, I don't know if he's that good. And Ryan Clady, for the first 5-6 years of his career, was one of the best left tackles. So that's where the examples that I want to give you of when it comes to a guy like Colton Miller, don't listen to all the pundits that don't think it was a good pick. Trust me when I say that's a good pick. Going into the second round, you have PJ Hall. Now, the problem with PJ Hall that I have is that it's not a problem with him as a player, and it's not a problem off the field, nothing like that. I actually didn't get to study PJ Hall, and it was a situation where his name came up really late, and I could have actually went into trying to study him at a certain point, but I said, you know what? I already went through the defensive tackles, defensive ends. I was into my safeties and corners and studying them. I said, I can't do this. I'm not going to look at them, whatever. So maybe I will go back, some time, and I will actually do it again. But sorry that I can't really say nothing about PJ Hall, and I don't want to take someone else's words and put it into this video what a player that I think PJ Hall will be. So I'm actually skip PJ Hall, and I'm gonna go to Brandon Parker. Now, Brandon Parker played that in North Carolina A&T, I believe. Okay, so North Carolina A&T. I didn't write it down. I'm sorry. I do a lot of this stuff off the top of my head. Except for just writing the draft picks names down so I can remember that. But he played at a small school. He was the left tackle there. I wasn't as impressed by Brandon Parker. I wasn't that impressed. But looking at that, they chose Colton Miller in the first. Choosing Brandon Parker just says that, okay, he's going to be a right tackle. So maybe with him being a right tackle, it will work out better for him in the NFL. He's got the length, he's got the height, he's got the weight, he's got the strength, he's got all the stuff that you look for in a left tackle. But you have this guy that will definitely probably be a starter at right tackle. And if in a pinch situation, if Colton was to get hurt or something, this is the type of guy that you can swing over there real quick to say, hey, just go over there real quick, and we'll see what you can do. And you never know. He could actually be a pretty good player at left tackle too, giving him a couple of years. But I think Brandon Parker, it's not the best pick, and I don't love the pick, but I do like the pick because of what they did in the first round, and they came back in the third round and got a guy like Brandon Parker. Now, also in the third round, they chose Arden Key. Now, Key is the biggest, I would say, the most polarizing defensive player in the draft, and the reason I say that is because this is a guy that was, if there was like a college defensive player of the year, I think Arden Key would have been that the year before, not this past season. And because he was in LSU was one of the best pass rushers, absolutely menacing off the line of scrimmage. And I just remember seeing him and just thinking to myself, like, wow, this guy got some juice to him. But the problem that happened this year with the whole weight situation, him leaving school before the season started, then coming back, they said he was up to like 280 pounds, which is crazy because he was like 240 the year before. So you gained 40 pounds like that? They say now I believe he's around like he's around 245, so he kind of came back down, but still. What I think about Arden Key is that in the situation that he's going to be in with the Oakland Raiders, I know they're not going to have him be like a starting pass rusher. He's a guy that if you're looking for just a pure pass rusher, you say, look, the only job you have is to rush the passer. Arden Key is the guy. You just got to make sure that he's in the right mind and that he's doing the things that he does outside of the facility and even inside of the facility to become a better defensive player. And you never know. This guy could be one of the next Justin Houstons. You never know what could happen with a guy like Arden Key. But Arden Key has ability to really be something special in the football game, but he just has to hone into it. He has to really get that mindset to say, hey, I'm going to be one of the best. And you got a really good player there. Now, in the fourth round, the Raiders chose Nick Nelson. And I love the Nick Nelson pick because I felt as though Nick Nelson was one of the better corners in the draft. I felt as though he wasn't the fastest, he wasn't the biggest, he wasn't the quickest, but he was the most solid. He gave you everything that you need in a corner in terms of tackling skills, solid ball skills, being able to have sticky coverage, not letting guys get too much separation. He was a guy that was able to give you a lot of things that you look for in a corner. And no, it wasn't eye-popping like most people will want a player to be. Example, Justin Gilbert was quote unquote an eye-popping corner coming out of Oklahoma State, and I called it. I felt Justin Gilbert wasn't going to be a good corner in the NFL, and I called it, and I was right on it. And the reason why I give that example is because he was eye-popping. Nick Nelson's not, but Nick Nelson will probably come into the NFL and give you the things that you look for and need, because most of the time when it comes to players, we're just looking for you to do your job. You don't have to get turnovers as a defensive player or sacks all the time. You don't always have to make you got to make every catch, but you know what I mean? Like, when the ball's thrown to you, catch it. You know what I mean? Like, when certain things happen, you see a player, throw that, throw it. I don't know how else to explain it. Just do your job. When the certain stuff happens, do your job. And I think that's what Nick Nelson, that's what type of corner he is. He's a do-your-job corner. And then in the 5th round, they chose Maurice Hurst. Now, I wasn't the biggest fan of Maurice Hurst, but I can say this. Getting him in the 5th round in terms of where he was going to go in mock drafts and how a lot of other people had their drafts. I know he has that heart condition. I don't know how it's going to affect him, but as a player, I'm not the biggest fan of him because he does get washed out of plays. He's not Aaron Donald. He's not Geno Atkins. He's Maurice Hurst. He is a guy that has pass rushing skills because he's quick on the inside, but he's got to get stronger and stronger as time goes on so he become a better and better player, as he's going to be in the NFL. And hopefully the heart issue doesn't become a big issue, and hopefully he can become the player that they think that he can be when it gets into the Raiders training camp and everything. After that, in the 5th round, they also chose Johnny Towson. I told a lot of people I don't do kickers, punters, long snappers, and fullbacks, so you won't get nothing from that. Then in the next round, yes. In the 6th round, they chose Azeem Victor. I didn't get to watch any tape of Azeem Victor, so I can't really give much on him, or I don't remember watching him. Maybe I did, but I didn't get to see a lot of tape, so I can't really give anything. And like I said, I don't read other people's stuff and then put it on tape to act like it's my words. No, I won't do that to the people that's watching me as I go through these draft breakdowns. No, that's not how I do it. But in the 7th round, their last pick, they chose Marcel Aitman. I can say this. Marcel Aitman is a guy that has ability and could definitely be a better player than the draft slot that he was picked in. The only problem I have with Aitman is that the biggest question would be, I'm going to just say this. Is he Vincent Jackson? Is he a guy that has kind of number one skill set and can make a bunch of big catches and big plays? Or is he Malcolm Floyd? Not Michael, Malcolm, who played for the Chargers with Vincent Jackson, who was a number 2 receiver, but was kind of just there. He wasn't a big playmaker. Who is he as a player? I think he's more Malcolm Floyd than he is Vincent Jackson. And that's just me. Or maybe I can just say Malcolm Floyd or Michael Floyd, because you know how good Michael Floyd is. Is he more Malcolm Floyd than Michael? I think he's more Malcolm. But we will see as time goes on. Aitman does have ability. He has the ability to kind of stretch the field because of his length and body. He's not the greatest route runner. And I think his run after the catch is more of it has to be kind of that right situation. He's not the type of dude that's going to catch it and just break off of a tackle and then run down the field. He's more of a guy that's going to catch it. A guy's going to misread the tackle, slip off of him, and then he's going to, I don't know. He's a guy that you could put on crossing routes and stuff like that, but who knows? The Raiders already got Jordy Nelson, and they got, who else they got? They traded for somebody else, Martavius Bryant, and they already got Amari Cooper, and I swear I think they got somebody else too. Was it Ryan Switzer or Cole Beasley? It was one of the. I could be tripping. I could be, but anyway, they got some weapons for Derek Carr. Aitman is just going to be a guy that's probably just going to be for special teams anyway, but we will see. Overall, I think that this draft class is an unknown draft class, but it has the potential to being one of the best draft classes of the 2018 NFL Draft. So, Anyway, if you like this video and you want to see more of me and more draft breakdowns that I do, you're a Raiders fan and you want to see the rivals and what I think that your rivals did, please subscribe. Please hit that like button. If you didn't like what I had to say about a Raiders player or you don't like my style, then comment so we can debate about it. And share this video so other people can see it, other people can comment, and other people can debate. And we can build this drafting community that I'm trying to build with a whole bunch of people that really love the NFL draft. Once again, this is Draft Raw Authentic. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.